is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.
Selena Quintanilla has been called one of the most influential and iconic artists in all of Latin American music. People loved her here in Texas and throughout the Southwest, and she was right on the cusp of becoming a huge international star when suddenly her life was cut short, so tragically. There was no one else like her. Those iconic bustiers, the purple dress, and that voice. Still bringing chills to so many of her fans. Selena, the vibrant Mexican-American force that dominated Latin music charts in the 90s. But then, suddenly, it all came to a tragic end.
Late at night when all the world...
Selena was on the verge of a major English crossover when she was murdered by one of her employees, a close friend. It's hard to believe that it's been 25 years. What's the impact of that kind of tragedy on this family?
Death is a very painful thing, especially if it's your child. And it's a pain that will be there till we pass away.
Why do you think she remains so popular to this very day?
I've always said that in Selena's case, it was not just the artist, but the person.
To start this video off properly, we have to go back to March 31st, 1995, to a small motel off the highway in Corpus Christi, Texas. Now, back in 1995, it was a day's inn. Then after that, it was a night's inn. And at the time of recording this, in 2022, it's the Red Roof Inn. Now, what you're looking at right now, just beyond these palm trees, is the lobby, where after Selena was shot, she made her way here to the lobby and she collapsed on the floor. I'm at a loss for words. Right now, there's a whole bunch of construction happening, a lot of renovations, so I can't take you guys inside the main lobby. They have it blocked off. But I can take you up to the glass and show you the little memorial they have on the counter, as well as the floor in the lobby where she collapsed. Now, even though you can stay here, you can rent out rooms, you cannot rent out the room where she was shot. I wouldn't want to do that, but I did ask because you have to know these things. So keep that in mind. If you do decide to come down here and visit, they do allow you on property. You can't rent out the room. Now, we can't get into the lobby. It's closed off to the public right now. But if you look over there towards that red wall, they have a little, I wouldn't say a shrine, but they have a little setup for Selena. But this is the lobby where she collapsed, where she came asking for help. March 31st, 1995. Selena comes to this motel because Yolanda, her best friend for many years, remember she started off as a fan who ended up running the fan club as well as managing some of Selena's boutiques. The family believed that she was embezzling like $30,000 and just keeping a bunch of money and not holding up the promises to her fans. So Selena comes here to this motel room right here. It's number 150, but back then it was 158. The motel changed it. So she comes here to confront her. I guess she also had some documents that Selena and the family needed. And nobody really knows what happened inside the motel room. Now, witnesses, people around the area, say that they heard yelling, like a scuffle. And as Selena was leaving, that's whenever Yolanda pulled a .38 caliber gun and shot her once in the back, right below the right shoulder.
Selena parada ahí, Yolanda que Pensamos que cuando Selena dio el anillo a Yolanda, ella sacó la pistola donde lo tenía. Selena se volteó, iba a andar para afuera para irse. Como en este momento le tiró, como a esta distancia le tiró Yolanda a Selena, pegándole un balazo aquí, saliéndole aquí. El tiro caminó para allá, nunca lo hallamos. El blood splatter, la sangre, rebotó, se embarró toda esta.
And the fighter that Selena is, or was, bleeding, she runs right out that door, right across this yard that we're standing in, right past the pool, to the lobby, screaming, "Help." Eyewitnesses say that they heard a woman screaming with loose flowing hair, and she was wearing a jumpsuit, and they saw her running down the corridor, and there was a woman holding a gun chasing after her, but she wasn't chasing after her, she was walking pretty calmly. And as Selena got to the lobby, she gets inside and she tells people, the lady in 158 shot me, please help me. They see Yolanda stop, this cold look in her face, and she turns and she walks calmly back to the room here. There's a couple photos that were taken, the crime scene photos. And you can see some of Selena's belongings out here on the grass. As she ran, she dropped them. To me, one of the most haunting photos was of Selena's purse, which was found right over here in this parking spot, right where the curve happens in the curb. Almost right where Jessica's standing. It's probably to your right a little bit. Pretty crazy.
Thank you, Ben. That's right. We are standing by live in Corpus Christi, right across the street from the Days Inn where this shooting did occur earlier today. If you look behind me, you can see the tail end of a red pickup truck. This is also where police officers and SWAT team members are still trying to negotiate with the alleged killer. The Assistant Police Chief, Ken Bung, tells us that they have provided the suspect with a telephone and have been in constant contact with her, trying to get her to give herself up. However, as you can see, their efforts are still fruitless. Now, they have been able to tell us they have identified this woman. However, her name will not be released until they manage to get her out, whether she gives herself up or however the situation ends. In the meantime, we have people that are coming by, hundreds and hundreds of people, fans of Selena Quintanilla, better known in the Tejano industry as La Princesa de la Onda Tejana. They're coming by, waiting to see how this is going to turn out. The police chief tells us, assistant police chief tells us that they are going to wait it out. All they want is to get her out safe, and they don't want her to hurt herself or anybody else. That's all we have for now. We will have more for you later tonight.
The police are called, and whenever they get here, they find Yolanda has locked herself in her pickup truck. And for 9 hours, she stays in there until the police convince her to come out, and she confesses pretty much right away. They give her life in prison with the possibility of parole in like 30 years. Before we even turned on the camera, we walked into the lobby and told them what we were doing and asked for permission. And they were kind enough to let us back here to do this. And we were talking with the receptionist, and she was saying how when she first started here, she had no idea that this was the hotel, the motel that Selena died in. And when she found that out, I think it was her dad who told her. Yeah. And then we started talking about how she could have lived if the bullet was just a little bit one way or the next. You know, with the way she was shot, the bullet hit a main artery. Yeah. And we also talked about how she was such a fighter. And when she left here, she ran for help, which ultimately is probably what caused her death to happen so quickly. Yeah. You know, you get shot or you nick a main artery.
The adrenaline and running.
Right, your blood's pumping. And it's a good 50 yards from here to the
Not
lobby.
close.
She made it. And sadly, she ended up passing. I mean, we know the story. There's an amazing Netflix documentary if you haven't seen that as well.
Or if you're like me and grew up on the one with J-Lo.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I like to do here at the Grimm Life Collective is to walk history, even if it's just for a moment. So right now, I'm standing with my back to room 150, which would have been 158 when Selena was here. And this is the route or the direction she would have run, dropping her belongings. Now, I'm not going to walk all the way to the lobby, but I'm going to point it out. Again, right here in this area, around the corner, is where her purse was found. And she ran right down this road to that building that's in the center of your screen. That's where the lobby is.
Thousands of people are there to say goodbye to the young woman they admired and loved. The public's farewell to Selena. That's our top story tonight, April 2nd, 1995. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us. Never in the history of Corpus Christi has someone's death had this much impact. Thousands of people, not only from Texas, but from all over the country, are here to pay their last respects to Selena. Felix Cortez has been at Bayfront Plaza.
It used to be that fans of Selena would wait in line for hours just for a chance to see the Tejano star perform in concert.
She's an original. And if anybody tries to imitate her, you know, there won't be anybody.
She was the best. She was the princess of Tejano music.
Her fans are still lining up to see her, but today it's for a much different reason. The fans that have come to Bayfront Plaza are paying their final respects to the one-time rising star. The expressions show how many feel about the passing of Selena. Others tried to put it in words as they walked by her casket.
I said for her to keep her wing over us, because she's an angel now. When she died, she became an angel.
Thank you for all the beautiful songs that you left us, and thank you for just being yourself and really leaving us all these beautiful things and teaching us how to really succeed in life.
These people are just part of the reason for Selena's success. She knew that, and she never turned her back on them.
I think that was real special. I think that, you know, it showed that she wasn't all for her stardom, that she wanted to keep some of her roots.
Many here say Selena was one of a kind of hometown hero that one never forgets. Felix Cortez, 6 News.
We now find ourselves on the corner of Ashland Drive and Gaines Street, right across the street from the Seaside Memorial Park and Funeral Home, the final resting place of Selena. Usually whenever we visit these places, I really try to keep my own thoughts out of the videos and just try to let the location speak for themselves. But when it comes to Selena, there's something I really wanted to talk about. Every time that I've seen a photo of Selena's grave, it always seemed like it was very regal or very queen-like, goddess-like, if you will. Like it was in the most beautiful garden known to man. And she was really just a human being. She's buried in a cemetery just like everybody else in a town where people like you and I live in. And I think that speaks a lot to how Selena touched so many people. Like she was amazing. And yet she was right there with the people. Like people loved her and she loved them. I see this is really nice. A little walkway that goes out into the plot here. It's got the wrought iron fence. It's peaceful. There's a little hole right here so you can actually stick your camera through. take some pictures. See it back there? It says Selena with a single rose. The white and purple flowers are just breathtaking. I mean, look at that. This is beyond beautiful. Definitely one of the most beautiful graves I have ever seen across the country. Without, you know, without the architecture or anything like that, but just well thought out, and you can just feel the love here. The plaque right below the sculpt of Selena has a single rose as well as a seashell above her name, and it says Selena Quintanilla Perez, April 16th, 1971 to March 31st, 1985. And there's a Bible verse both in English and Spanish. It says, "He will actually swallow up death forever, and the sovereign Lord Jehovah will certainly wipe the tears from all faces." Isaiah 25:8. As Jessica and I were driving over here to the cemetery, we were talking about how we were kind of at a loss for words visiting these locations. I mean, Selena, amazing musician, and she was the first person to really successfully bridge the gap between Latin music, like Tejano music, and into the American audience. And of course, I believe I found Selena after her death. And so for me, personally, in some sort of weird way, complete respect, for me, as much as I love her music, her story surrounding her death eclipses the music for me. Like, it's so sad, it's so tragic that, to me, she's more than just a musician. She's almost like a god, or a goddess, you should say. So driving the streets here in Corpus Christi and visiting these locations, it just doesn't seem real, but it is. Now, baby girl, every time that we're in the road, when we do these long road trips, we very rarely listen to music. Occasionally we do. And a few different times that we've been on the road, I've put on Selena, and you and I would sing to it, and I'm not gonna lie, I still get teary-eyed whenever I hear her voice.
Yeah. I can only enjoy her music for a little while before I'm overcome with emotion, because it still makes me so angry that she was taken from the world the way that she was. She really was someone that a lot of young girls looked up to when she was singing. It's like following the career of a Mouseketeer. You know, she was that big, or Nirvana. Because I was about the same age when they both passed. I would have been about 13 when she passed, so I knew her music. And it was massive. It was traumatizing when we heard about it. Like movie stars. They were both movie stars, you know, rock gods, or however you want to say it. But I thought, like, without knowing her story, I just knew her music, I thought she was this, you know, world traveling musician because she was so young and so popular. And yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed her music, and it really hurt when she was taken from us.
We're gonna go back up and say goodbye. Oh man. Jessica is feeling adventurous. Is it warm? Is it nice and warm? You excited?
It is warm. It's really, really warm. I would go swimming in that. I don't know if you're supposed to, but I would.
No. If you do come down here, it says caution slippery when wet, and obviously there's a lot of water. Right now we're at Swantner Park. I think I'm saying that correctly. Swantner Park.
Swantner.
Swantner. I think that's right. The wind is really crazy down here, so I'm trying my hardest to shield the microphone as much as possible. Now, in the movie Selena, where Jennifer Lopez portrays Selena, there's a scene where a young Selena is learning to dance, learning the washing machine dance move with her mom. And it was actually filmed right here in Corpus Christi along these steps. So we're trying to find the exact spot.
It's a dance her dad and I used to dance when we were young.
We did. She used to do the washing machine.
Do you want me to show you? Yeah, come here. Like this. There you go, mijo.
Do the washing machine.
Wait a minute. There you go. Your father likes the washing machine. Move your hips. There you go.
Yeah.
You see where the pathway curves? This looks like it's the spot. The salt, the moisture in the air. And my hair is going absolutely freaking bonkers, and there goes Jessica to do the washing machine. It's her best version of it. Now, it's a great scene, but I think it's right here. Now let me show you what I mean by lining up the shots. All right, baby, go do the washing machine. See, some practice, you got it. It's the Grimm washing machine.
Black clothes only.
Black clothes only.
Dark wash.
Now this is awesome because in the movie, while her mom is teaching her how to dance, you get a zoomed in shot. And then you see those buildings way off in the distance. More importantly, those ones right there, you can see that behind them. Crazy, right? This is just a small little location when it comes to the story of Selena. But if you're wondering where this is at, of course, GPS is a wonderful thing, but we're about 2 miles, actually less than 2 miles away from where Selena is buried. All right here in Corpus Christi.
Right now, they're fixing to resand the floors. These are the original wooden floors that were in the home.
As for Selena's boutique and salon in Corpus Christi, it was still being worked on when we dropped by. The Tejano singer wants to explore her talents away from music.
The manicuring stations, you can see them right here, where they're going to be doing nails. Back here in this last room over here is going to be where they're going to be giving massages.
It's crazy how things change over time. The building you're looking at right now, the business here, is prime real estate. But back in the day, this was Selena's boutique. The building's still here. Some time ago, it closed. Whenever she died, it was still owned by Chris Perez, her husband, and he ended up selling it. It still looks, aside from a few paint jobs and signs, it still looks identical. There's even a famous picture of Selena standing out front. Now we asked for permission to be here on property to get these shots. Just want to walk around the building just so you can see it. Big parking lot back here. Now, of course, if you know the story of Selena, you know that music was her and her family's life, but she had a dream to own her own clothing line, to own her own boutique. Something that she felt very strong about.
You must be pretty excited about everything that's being done here, huh?
Yeah, it's taking shape. This is just one big paint and body shop, and they sealed up these huge doors. Right here, they're going to make a recording studio, so we don't have to go out of town to record. We'll have a digital studio.
It's a family operation, run by Selena, her brother, sister, and her parents. Her father makes the major decisions. Aunts and uncles even help out.
It's great. I think a lot of people, have this tendency to think that families can't work together, and, I'm a firm believer that the Hispanic families are real tight. They seem to stick together, believe in real family unity. And you can see by our family, we work together really well.
This is where the Quintanilla family is creating its base of operations in Corpus Christi, an uncle's auto shop that's still being transformed, headquarters for their band and other performers they now manage.
This is going to be my dance studio. I've always wanted one. I always wanted to be a ballerina too, but I think I'm a little bit too heavy.
And there's more at this complex, which keeps expanding.
Behind this door is where the band practices. When we want to learn new songs for the recording.
Then there's the room where they make their own promotional t-shirts. Plus a sewing room, clothes for Selena's new boutique.
Well, when I'm not performing or I don't have to do special TV things, I like to be like this, relaxed, just like anybody else. This is more for show.
Now this blows my mind. Just like you see in the movies, there's 3 houses right here and there's a fence that goes around them all. This is where Selena's parents lived. This house right over here was AB's. And then Selena and Chris lived down here on the corner, number 705. And there's still a fence that goes all the way around all 3 houses to this day. Of course, there's a sign that says, "No trespassing, please respect our property." We wouldn't have it any other way. It blows my mind. The thing that I'm finding it really hard to grasp is all of this, like Selena's world, all took place in your everyday neighborhood. This isn't like some rich and glamorous Beverly Hills neighborhood or houses or anything like that. There's a couple of different rundown little sketchy areas. She was pretty true. Her family was pretty true to where they grew up, like their roots. There's a mural a couple blocks down that I want to go and show you guys, so let's go check it out. And doing research, tracking down the locations here in Corpus Christi, I've seen a lot of different photos of Selena throughout the neighborhoods, but have yet to see a mural until now. The goal isn't to live forever, but to create something that will. That's nice. I'm sure there's more. We'll find them. Haven't seen them yet, but there's got to be more. Now, a couple blocks away from the city of Corpus Christi, Selena Memorial, is the Water Street Oyster Bar. And what's really special about this, they have a South Texas Music Walk of Fame. And it's actually really cool. There's even a surf museum back here. And Selena and her husband Chris both have a star here. So we're gonna go walk back and see if we can find it. The sun is really beating down here. And there are stars pretty much everywhere. Haven't come across them yet. We'll find it. We've seen pictures of it online. This one right here. Now trust me when I tell you, it is so tempting to show all the different famous stars here. Chris Christopherson even has a star here on the Walk of Fame. But we're here because of Selena. And Chris Perez, this was her husband, and he's still making music to this day. Now, a little bird told us that Selena's actually, her star is actually towards the end of the Walk of the Fame, near the actual surf museum. So we have a pretty good idea where that's at, but I'm glad we found Chris. Right around this corner should be the Surf Museum. Yep, Texas Surf Museum. Supposedly, Texas is a very big surf community. Well, down here in Corpus Christi, there's even a world famous surf photographer that lives here. And inside the museum that has a lot of his photos up on the walls. This is kind of fun. What do they call that? Those are like the old woodies. right? The Woody wagons. And obviously it's a fake car, but that's what it looks like because it's got that wood paneling siding. Very big in the surf communities in like the 60s, I do believe. There are oyster shells everywhere. And right back here at the very end is the surf club. Now online, we found out that Selena is back here by the fountain. And if I'm not mistaken, she's over in the right-hand corner. This place is beyond beautiful, especially with that fountain. Nice little garden area, and that's where you'll find Selena's star. Kind of reminds me of San Antonio in some ways, like down there by the Riverwalk. Like I said, being from Hollywood, California, this is extra special to us. We love things like this, the Walk of Fame. So Hollywood has one, St. Louis has one, and now we know Corpus Christi has one. I'm sure there's others across the country. And you know what? I say we visit them all. The Selena Museum is actually just around the corner from the motel where Selena was shot. And her family built the museum around her recording studio. And we were told that whenever Selena was here recording, she actually wasn't here that long. She recorded only a couple songs from her English-speaking album. This parking lot wasn't here, and most of the building wasn't here as well. But they did park Big Bertha, the tour bus, the family tour bus here. Now those tour buses, that's not Big Bertha, she's not one of those, but it's still kind of cool to see tour buses here on property. The museum, it only costs $5 to get in, and because it's the 4th of July weekend, it's pretty packed. There's people everywhere. And we were told ahead of time that you can't do any video on the inside, so we're going to be doing some video photos, if you will. There's one more Selena spot we want to visit for this video. That is unless we come across another mural for her. And this one is down here by the water. This is just beautiful. Talk about a day to be here, right? We've pretty much spent the entire day driving around Corpus Christi, visiting the houses and a couple other little places. And I found myself wondering why there's no plaques out front of houses or anything like that. And then I remember, well, wait a second. There are statues and murals all over Corpus Christi that commemorate her, that remember her. And down here by the water is one of the most beautiful statues, places that you can come and pay your respects. Spending the entire day here in Corpus Christi, we've seen a lot. And aside from her grave is absolutely beautiful, but this is gorgeous. Look at that white flower. And then right over here, right by Jessica, is a statue of her. It's pretty lifelike. I don't know if you're going to see it that well because of the way the sun is right now,
Los fans, tanto nuevos como antiguos, todavía vienen a visitarla aquí de todas partes.
Beautiful. Here, let's tilt this way a little bit.
Selena Quintanilla's memory is as alive today
There's like this
as it has been since 1995.
recording that's playing, and it also plays part of her music, one of her songs.
Continues to fascinate the public. Fans, both new and old, still come to visit from across the world.
It might be a little hard to read, but it says the city of Corpus Christi, Selena Memorial, dedicated May 25th, 1997, Selena Quintanilla Perez. Selena was referred to as La Flor, the flower, and identified with La Rosa Blanca, the white rose. When you view La Rosa Blanca, you feel her presence nearby. Selena's stage is now silent, yet her persona enriched the lives of those she touched, and her music lives on. Every brick at the base of the statue has something written on it, including this pedestal that the statue is actually on. But there's a few that I want to point out more than the others. I mean, they're all great, but there's a few that you're going to want to see. This one right here says, "We will never forget you. Love, Mom and Dad." This is from her husband, Chris. "I will always love you forever. Chris. Forever missing you, your sisters Suzette and Bill." I feel like everywhere we look here in Corpus Christi, we discover something new. It's one of the things I love about this place. First time being here, but we were getting ready to walk away and I noticed this. This little tile memorial down here. Let's see, Paseo de la Flor. These floral tiles were hand-painted by Texas children who loved Selena. Then down here by the water, there's some more white flowers. This is really nice. I'm really glad that we came down here to finish the video, because this is gorgeous. I don't know about you, Baby Gold, but this has been one heck of a day. I really enjoyed today. It's been hot. It's been windy, it rained a little bit, and we're ending today's video down here by the water with Selena's music playing off in the distance. How perfect is this? I am very happy that Corpus Christi has kept Selena's memory alive. Like, this is amazing. I did not expect this. I just figured we'd come down here and there'd be a few different plaques in her grave, but I feel like I'm walking through her life.
It makes me a little weepy, if I'm being honest. Being down here, especially with her statue and the plaques that were painted by the children, I feel a little choked up. It's done very beautifully, and it really does her memory justice.
If you do find yourself down here in South Texas, Corpus Christi, do yourself a favor, come on down and just explore. It's a wonderful place to do that. With that being said, thank you for joining us for another adventure. Until next time, happy Halloween.
Wherever I come, bad luck is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.